Sabbath greetings to everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful week and that you're staying warm out there. It's been beautiful in the sense that the sun is shining and we had that, whatever they're calling it, the super moon or whatever, beautiful moon in the sky and sunshiny days, but it has been very deceiving. It's been cold. I hope you've had a good week. I'm going to really try to resist speaking too much about the announcement that I made earlier today. Of course, it's going to be on our hearts and mind here for the next couple of months as we anticipate a transition. I know you all will be praying and you're thinking the same thing. And for those of you that may be viewing this and don't know, well, I'll be giving the announcement around the area, but for the Sabbath greetings here for this evening, I want to keep going through the Proverbs. I've already been a minute in the intro here, so we're going to get into Proverbs 3, Proverbs chapter 3, just continue right on. It's kind of a long one. I don't know that we'll get to every single verse, but we're just going to go through it and talk about some of the important principles in Proverbs 3. My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands. For length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. So, despite all the talk about the fact that the law is not as important as grace, and that Christ did it all for us, and we don't have to worry about the law, and all those things that are being taught out there in Christian land, so-called Christian land. Here is some benefits of God's law for not forgetting His law and keeping the commandments. Length of days and long life. That's really sort of the same thing, but you know, the fact that we have a much better chance of living a long life. None of us live forever, but living a long life, and peace they will add to you. Peace comes from keeping God's law. The kind of peace that cannot be gained any other way. And peace is something people strive for in this world every day because they don't understand this principle that we have to be concerned with and focused on keeping the laws of God. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. And so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and man. Interesting. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. So mercy and truth. So the truth has to be revealed by God, and mercy is included right here in this same principle, this same context. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Mercy and truth. And so again, if we want to contrast the ways of the world, Satan's way, the way that he has sort of deceived the world into thinking and reacting, it's far from mercy. So we need to be focused in our hearts and in our minds and in our daily lives on mercy and truth. And if we do that, we'll find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and man. So these are principles of life that have been lost from this world, but the Proverbs are just full of them. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. Well, these are all very well-known proverbs, but to look at them in the context and in the reality of the application of these things is what's lost in the world. But it's not lost on us, because we understand if we really trust God with all of our hearts, and we don't lean on our own understanding, we don't try to lean on our own human reasoning, our understanding, and we often think and react based on emotion. But this is saying, don't lean on your own understanding. Don't let those things distract you like the world is distracted by these things. In all your ways acknowledge Him, He shall direct your paths. So we do have to count on Him to direct our paths. We can't do it on our own. We just don't have that ability. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Again, the principle here that's so often humility. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the ever-living one and depart from evil. Depart from it. Don't stick around. Don't put yourself in the middle of it, but depart from it. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones. You want to be healthy. You want to be strong. And of course the principle here is not just physical. That's part of it. If we're not wise in our own eyes and we fear God, we depart from evil. We know that it'll be health certainly to our flesh and strength to our bones in a physical sense. But oftentimes there's a parallel here. There is certainly a duality here, that it will be spiritually good for us. Honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase. So the first fruits of our increase, the tithe of our increase, goes to God. We give that to Him. It belongs to Him, and we need to honor Him in that way in our possessions. Honor the Lord with your possessions. So not just in terms of our tithe, our wealth in that way, but even to honor Him in making sure that we, Mr. Armstrong used to hit on this a lot. It's not wrong to have quality possessions. If you're going to own something, we should have quality and honor God in our possessions. Not going into debt to do it, but to have as good as we can afford and make sure that we have quality items and honor God in what He provides for us in that way. And if we do that, he says in verse 10, so your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow with new wine. So honor God in what we have, in the first fruits, certainly giving our tithes and generous offerings. And then, we don't have to worry about whether or not we're going to have what we need. In verse 11, of course, the classic here, my son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord. That's quoted again back in Hebrews. Nor detest His correction. For whom the Lord loves, He corrects, just as a father the son in whom He delights. Correction is a way of life for true Christians. And we shouldn't despise it, but actually understand that it's a part of life. And it's very important in that sense to understand that part of life is so important that we need to understand correction. Verse 13, happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. For her proceeds are better than the profits of silver, and her gain than fine gold. So even though it's not wrong to have possessions and all that type of thing, the concept here is that it's certainly more important to go after wisdom and understanding and not get so distracted by the pursuits of physical things, because there are things that are more important than gold and silver and money and all that sort of thing. She's more precious than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her. The length of days is in her right hand, in her left hand riches and honor. So again, we're talking about wisdom and understanding provides all these types of things. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She's a tree of life to those who take hold of her, and happy are all who retain her. So that's one aspect we want to keep in mind too. How do we retain wisdom and understanding? It doesn't happen really naturally. We retain it by being renewed daily, making sure that we study often, that we keep praying, that we keep applying these things, that we keep utilizing God's Spirit, and then we will retain the things that we learn, the knowledge and the wisdom that we gain through life. And then it provides all these wonderful things. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth, by understanding He established the heavens. He has perfect wisdom and understanding. He's the one that has used it to provide what we need in a physical sense, because He doesn't need physical things, but He provided for us in that way through His wisdom and understanding. By His knowledge, the depths were broken up and clouds dropped down the dew. So He's the one that created the atmosphere and the way that we receive rain and the way that we receive sustenance. My son, let them not depart from your eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, so they will be life to your soul and grace to your neck. Then you will walk safely in your way, and your foot will not stumble. So pretty self-explanatory there. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. Yes, you'll lie down, and your sleep will be sweet. I've always loved that, because I know sometimes You run into people who don't get a lot of good, sweet sleep. But here's the key. In one sense, now there can be other things, other causes of insomnia and things like that. But think about what it says here. Your sleep will be sweet. You can have peace and rest. It's by much activity that dreams come. And so sometimes there are reasons that we can't get a good night's sleep and we have insomnia. And we need to think about these things. Do not be afraid of sudden terror, nor of trouble from the wicked when it comes, for the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. Verse 27, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it's in the power of your hand to do so. If we can do good and it's in our power, we need to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back and tomorrow I'll give it, when you have it with you. Do not devise evil against your neighbor, for he dwells by you for safety's sake. Do not strive with a man without cause, if he has done you no harm. Don't just go picking a fight. It's not a good idea. God is keeping track of those things. Don't envy the oppressor and choose none of his ways, for the perverse person is an abomination to the Lord. Sometimes it seems like people are getting away with things, but they're not. So we don't need to envy the oppressor. But his secret counsel is with the upright. The curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the just. So the just, we teach our children just ways and just scales and doing things honestly and properly. Surely he scorns the scornful, but gives grace to the humble. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the legacy of fools. What a beautiful proverb. Well, I hope that helps here on this wonderful Sabbath. I love you all very much. We look forward to taking the opportunity to be in the Dells this Sabbath. One final Sabbath there, since we really didn't get to do that before turning things over to Mr. Cryer. So we will be there this Sabbath. Looking forward to seeing the brethren there. The rest of you, we will certainly see in the weeks ahead. I love you all. Have a tremendous Sabbath, and we'll talk again real soon. Take care.